Hi, Krishna. Pleased to meet you. Heard a lot about you from Sharmi. When I say a lot, I really mean a lot. So you're on mute.
Pleasure meeting you, Mr. Naresh.
Sharmi,
Okay.
do you have a backup? You went offline.
Yeah, I mean, backup in the sense I have 3 Wi-Fis, 2 Wi-Fis and 1 mobile network. But since today, it has been really, really going bad. You know, it was.
Hello.
Oh,
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all.
That's
from wherever you joined.
It's 8:30 in the morning. Okay.
Sharmi, we are about almost a minute past starting time. So do you want to get rolling?
Okay.
Start or should we wait for?
Do we, it's 4:01. Yeah, we can start rolling. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Suprita.
Hello, everyone. I'm Suprita, and I thank all of you for taking out time and joining the discussion. I welcome you all to the discussion on behalf of Coachezzy-Part to Lead. And we would love to gain some insights today on why each of us need a coach. Today, we have with us our thought leaders, and I would like to introduce them. Start by welcoming Padmashree Dr. Kannan, who's an Indian surgical oncologist and who's director of Cancer Hospital and Research Center in India. It's a non-profit hospital, treats cancer patients. Welcome, Dr. Kannan. Next, I would like to introduce Sangeet Natak Academy, Ms. Sharmila, Biswas, an Indian classical dancer, experience across diverse industries and has trained thousands of leaders across the globe. He's also a musician at heart who's passionate about Carnatic music and loves to play the veena. Welcome, Mr. Naresh.
Thank you.
Next, we have with us Mr. Krishna Ramamurthy, founder of Coachezzy and Potential Genesis, who has trained and mentored more than 150 coaches globally to get certified through ICF. He's a people development practitioner with multicultural and multi-industry experience of more than 35 years. Welcome, Mr. Krishna Ramamurthy. He's known as Krish. Then we have with us Ms. Sharmi Roy, CEO of Coachezzy-Part to Lead, who's a transformational coach. She has a vision to create many more coaches in the society. She's also a mentor coach with ICF. She speaks about how coaching can transform people's minds in any industry. She has 3 lives. In her first life, she was a dancer by profession. And then she stepped on to the corporate leadership development in Fortune 200 companies. And in her third life, she is bringing together both art and leadership. Welcome, Ms. Sharmi. Now I hand it over to Sharmi to moderate the session.
Thank you, Suprita. Thank you so much. And I'm really happy once again. Welcome to each and everyone who's joined today to discuss today's topic, which is everyone needs a coach. And I really want to bring in the person who has actually told me this and who's coined this word for me. That's Dr. Ravi Kannan, who's mentioned this, everybody needs a coach. And I asked him why, and we'll bring that in here as well. But a little bit more about, Dr. Kannan, which Suprita has shared with us today is, Doctor, you have really worked, gone from South India to North India, which is, and really, there's a lot of culture difference. 14 years back, you have gone there and you have conquered the hearts of many out there. I was reading a comment by somebody who said that if there is God, I have not seen God, but I know there's somebody who resides there in Kachar. So what is it that you have, what is the secret sauce of touching so many people, their heart, which if you can just share with us?
2 things, Sharmi. One is Chennai to Silchar is no big deal. It is India. And in India, wherever you go and reside, nobody will ask you, why are you here? Chennai, you go across to Chicago, that is a big change. That is cultural change. Everything changes. And it's very hard to assimilate even after, 25 years there. And so this is not something to be credited for. Many years ago, when I met Naresh in the in I don't know when that was, late 1990s, I think, or maybe early 2000s. So somewhere we were talking, and he was telling me about the transition in his life. He was into a lot of sales work, and someday everything crashed, and he realized that now he doesn't want to be going about selling, uh, merchandise and making people buy things. He wanted to do something that would impact positively on people around him, and that sort of stuck to my head, as a very uh, apt way of describing what the purpose of life should be. We can choose any field that we want, that we are passionate about, but we should strive to impact positively on life around us. Can be human life, animal life, plant life, anything, it should make the planet a little bit better than how we found it. And so that, I think, will add purpose to or meaning to our lives. When we search for meaning, what happened to our lives, that we have been able to make a difference, that somebody lived better because we lived, is what uh, I think is the purpose of life. And at Silchar, I've had the fortune of working with amazing colleagues who each one of them eggs on the other to do better, to do more. The floods, are a typical example. Unmonitored, they just got together, they assembled, you know, uh, rough handmade rafts to ferry people across flooded roads. Nobody told them to do this, but that is so inspiring.
Yeah, I get that. Did I lose again?
I think Sharmi's video is.
Each one of us is part of the wheel, and the wheel makes the difference. And it is very humbling and inspiring at the same time to realize that you're part of something much bigger than your own self. And I guess that makes people respond positively.
True. I mean, I think that's beautiful. I did got thrown away for a very short time. So I would, what I really see is you're talking about human potential, human behavior, natural human connect with people. And that is so encouraging. So wherever you go, it is that human connect, which I'm hearing is there. So, Doctor, I have one more question. That is, how does behavior change happen for patients? Like I was reading Kegan Lahe's book, wherein they said that even if somebody knows that they are going to die, out of 10, 7 people still continues to smoke. So how do you really inspire or tell people, change their behavior in what they are doing?
I think change will happen when people take ownership of a thought. So somebody comes and is a tobacco user, and a spouse or a father or a close relative has cancer. And when we counsel them, oh, tobacco is injurious for health, they nod sagely, they will not change. But if we where they come out with the case for health and tobacco cessation is important, they own that thought, they own that concept, and that is when behavior change will happen.
Right. You have experienced conversation, coaching
No matter
conversation.
how much you
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Sharmi, do you want to go off video?
Off video.
Yeah, I will go back. Yeah. Thanks, Naresh. So is that
Yeah, this is better. This is better.
okay. Okay. So I really decked up a lot, but
I know.
not allowing me to
So,
come on video somehow.
you can try it a little later if it stabilizes, but you can continue now because we can hear you well.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Doctor. We'll come back to you once again. Going to Sharmila Biswas, who I fondly call Sharmila D, and she's known as Sharmila D. We have known you, one of the things which I know that you keep telling that what happens if there is no art, if there is no painting, if there is no dancer, what will happen to this world? And I found that very, very encouraging to support art and support performers. So, and I am aware that you do a lot of work for budding performers to help them grow. What do you see in this society for them? How can you really, see that any conversation or coaching, what is the difficulty they face as an artist?
Actually, to start with, we all know what will happen to a world without music or art, which is basically we are talking about expansion of our brain beyond our immediate needs. That's what art is about. So we all know, and but then fortunately it never has happened, and it will never happen. We will never have a world without these creative ideas, because I feel creativity doesn't come only to artists. Anybody who's creating something in the lab, something in a maths theory, they are all creative people. And I feel once you are into that creative mode where you are creating not particularly for a result, which will bring you money. So those kind of people will always need support, not just artists. Like when the research was going on for the atoms, the end result after 25 years was atom bomb. But think about, the scientists of the 20 years, they were not thinking of bombs or getting any immediate this thing. So we artists, all of us thinkers belong to that category. And when the difference is that you see an engineer, we are always thinking of which is seen concrete, immediate need, which is absolutely valid. We need to eat, we need to be educated, we need to have a roof over our head. So the immediate concerns get highlighted, and rightly so. And another concern is our mental peace, stability, all those things come from what we do. Sometimes they get a back seat. I feel that that has kept us sometimes on the periphery in the minds of people. They think that, oh, that is the last concern, usual mindset. But I feel those who are coming into this world of art, or anybody creative, to be very honest, they are not doing it, most of them are not doing it primarily because they want to change the world. It comes later. They most probably get into it because they love it. They don't know why. They are passionate about it. Now, if you're passionate about it, what I tell my students, it's your passion, right? So be responsible, be open to suggestion, be open to the world, and create a space for yourself. Do not blame the government. Do not blame the public for not funding your fun. So this is the way I start with the artists. No blame game.
It's more of the what you help them is to look internally, how you can solve
Internally, externally. Internally, yes, you need to know what you want and how much you want and all that, whether you want to kind of divide your time between something profitable, like say selling fish, as nice as that, as to kind of compensate. All that you should work out. That's your problem. It cannot be somebody else's problem.
Right. Okay. And I know that you often refer your students to coaches.
Yeah.
So what is it that they get? Where do you think they get benefit?
I think objectivity, you see, most of the time, the artists, young artists who come, they only hear voices of their parents who are very concerned and confused. They don't want their children to go into anything which doesn't bring regular monthly salary. We all know it. And when they come, then there's their gurus or teachers. Then it can be very tunnel vision, one perspective they're getting. So when they go to coaches, professional coaches, I have gone myself to Sharmi. So I know how it is like. And so when I send students, I feel that they should get different perspectives, a balanced view of the world, and to ability to look at themselves clearly.
Thank you, Sharmila. I'll come back to you once again. We'll go to Naresh. So Naresh, you have been, a facilitator who's really touched thousands of people across the globe as a corporate facilitator. I have been also your student in that context and have been your client. So what is it that you see that coach or coaching can bring in a difference into corporate leaders?
Thanks, Sharmi. Thanks for having me on this very distinguished panel. And I also want to salute all the coaches, people like Krishna, people like yourself, and all the other coaches who are on this call today for the extremely important work that all of you are undertaking. It's a pity that what I find, the sports world embraced coaching many, many decades ago. So, and now it's, the sports world, the player or the athlete and the coach are almost inseparable, right? And now they realize that how important it is to win a medal or win a tournament without the help of a coach. I think the business world is really lagging behind, right? So I really think it's catching up thanks to the kind of efforts that ICF and all of you are making. I think the change is happening, but it's not happening as fast as it should. And I really think, Sharmi, your vision that we need to build more coaches so that the world is a better place, organizations are a better place for people to work in. So my perspective through my corporate training is that CXOs and leaders must look at coaching far more seriously and must make a significant investment. B, I also believe that it's not practical to coach hundreds of employees. It's not something that is scalable, right? So that's where I believe that every manager must be a coach. And I think a very integral aspect of being a managerial leader is the responsibility that the leader carries in terms of grooming his or her team, in terms of looking at who is going to be my successor. So I vacate my seat and move on to more strategic things and more important things. I think that concept of manager as a coach is something I think that every organization needs to pay attention to. Because if we lose sight of that perspective, I also see this in parenting, right? If we lose sight of the purpose, like Dr. Kannan was saying, the purpose of a managerial leader is to make sure that, team members grow, that their perspectives are healthy, right? And they're given the autonomy and the freedom to contribute, right? It's similar to our parental roles. And, the danger without the coaching dimension, I think the danger of everything becoming transactional is very, very high. And I think that's where the coach makes a big difference, Sharmi. So if through the work that people like Krishna and you are doing, you coach the top leaders, and they in turn create a coaching culture and a coaching environment. So coaching kind of cascades right down to every level in the organization.
Beautiful. Thank you for bringing that point out, that the managers, the leaders, how they all need coaches. So, we heard from Dr. Kannan on the society on that part, Sharmila on, how performers can also benefit, Naresh, from your leadership. Before I move to Krishna, I just want to come back to Dr. Kannan once again. Dr. Kannan, I don't know if, I got dropped out, but did you tell us that why you said everyone needs a coach?
No, I did not. But I agree that at leadership levels, everyone needs a coach, and the job of every coach who's a leader or a leader who's a coach is to encourage transformative relationships as opposed to transactional relationships. And there needs to be as you grow as a leader, you need time and space to bounce off your ideas, to reflect on what is happening, to make sure your purpose and your goals and your objectives and your actions are all aligned to the same in the same direction. Some people are extremely gifted. They can do all of that alone in their own minds. But most of us who are more ordinary need another person who is non-judgmental, who's not mentoring you, who's not telling you what you should be doing, but he's allowing you to think, giving you questions that will make you give answers that you own. And so you are able to transform the environment around you. And that is why I think it is important for every leader to have a coach, every leader to become a coach, and to transmit down. As Naresh says, you cannot coach 500 employees, but that coaching process can cascade down to the lowest level. And so everybody can have somebody who's a coaching associate or a coaching colleague, and it could be mutual. But I think to create that process in every organization is important. We will help each other do better by ourselves and our communities.
Thank you, Dr. Kannan. I mean, that really gives that perspective. I really want to invite Krishna for a different perspective right now. Krishna, who has really coached and trained more than 150 coaches across the globe and made them ready. One of them is me as well. So Krishna, what is it that who cannot become a coach or who may not need a coach? If you can throw some insights on that.
My experience basically tells me that who does not need a coach is one who is not willing to challenge his experience. So if you really look at the way all our panel members are talking about, it's a very high mindset of transformational mindset, helping people to evolve what they are really meant to be in this planet. Ravi Kannan beautifully said, live behind a planet which is much better. So when you see people coming in with a very self-centered and very socialized or self-authoring mindset where everything is for me, then the topic becomes less interesting to coach. Now, that's where I think, as Naresh said, I very, very strongly believe it is not just coaching, it is human resource function, which is the responsibility of a line manager. So to make them really understand that the resources of people's competence is a natural resource. Nobody wants it. Even the individual doesn't own it. You need to be able to share your resources, your thinking, your thought, your creativity. Sharmila talked about, they are so important that you have to use that for living a better world. That's when coaching becomes so interesting rather than, I have topics coming, I want to live in India, I want to go to US, what should I do? Topic like that, yeah, they are coachable, but are they interesting and are they productive is a question. So we all have, and I coined this word called excessive expectation cognitive syndrome. The excessive expectation that people design for themselves, they create stress for themselves. Yeah, it has to be an optimal expectation. You don't set excessive expectations which are beyond, right? And then create a stress for yourself and then run around, doctor, patient, coaches, psychiatrists, therapists, and what do you achieve? Nothing. You run like a headless chicken all over the place trying to get what you want to do. And yeah, so that's my perspective to the whole thing.
Thank you, Krishna. I mean, that is very clear on who should not get coached. And in your mind, have you seen people that who you feel should not become coach?
That's a very important question you're asking. Is I think coaching is in the service of human development. So if coaches are going to get there saying that I am servicing myself and I'm trying to make it an industry, I'm trying to make money out of it, then are you going to be very authentic in serving people? So coaching is not for you to make money. Money is an outcome of service you give them. So the number of coaches I come here and say, okay, can I start making millions of rupees tomorrow morning? There are many ways you can make millions. Why coaching field? Now, why do you pollute a field which core of which is serving people? I think that's the difference that I would say.
Beautifully put. Yeah. Thank you, Krishna, for bringing that insight that coaching is for service of people. And I think in one of the conversation we were discussing that any profession can get into there, just for money. It can turn into that. But we need to be just cautious about and remind ourselves that this profession is also a very noble profession where it is for the service of people. So thank you for that. I'll come back to you once again. I want to go to Suprita, who has really spent about 17 years as a banker. And in fact, in 2019, late, you left, you really wanted, you got a heart's calling and you joined the profession of coaching. And what is it that you would want to, and I know that you are doing quite well. You have your clients and you're really impacting quite a few people. So what is it that your message will be to those who really wants to become coach?
Thank you, Sharmi. Thank you for asking that and inviting me to this forum. And I'm really happy to be a part of this with all the eminent panelists. So as all of you said, it's a choice which I exercised. And to take forward Sharmila's point when she says that don't blame the government or don't blame others. Or what Krishna said that, it's not for making money. Money is the outcome. Yes, of course, it's important. So it's a choice which I exercised because I wanted to see that, coaching culture, as Naresh said, or as Dr. Kannan said, that it's very important in any industry. And I come from the banking and the BFSI sector, which is I would say a cutthroat industry. I don't have much knowledge about other industries. So it's a high demanding industry. And, if we have coaching as a culture and managers are coaches, maybe, I have seen mentors and I have also mentored. I did informal coaching, but I'm happy that, I joined the coaching journey and it's a continuous journey. And thanks to Krishna and thanks to you, Sharmi, for, helping me in this journey. And I'm very happy. And just one thing which I wanted to add was that I wish I had known this earlier. I would have created a different impact in my organization, amongst my team, amongst my peers, with my seniors. So it's all about what sort of conversations I have with people around me, not just with team members or in the professional life, even in the personal life also. I think I'm trying to be a better person. It's all about becoming a better version of myself. It all starts with me, not with others. So I can't change the other person. I can only change myself if I'm aware about myself. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Suprita. And I really like, what I'm sensing is you often say that I don't know how much I'm impacting others, but I personally got impacted quite a lot by going through the process. So for me also, each time I quote someone or I am part of anything or every day what I'm learning, I can feel the change myself as I'm going through the process. So thank you for that. So, we had one round and now I open any questions. You can chat or unmute, or, Naresh, you've pinged me to say that you also have some questions for the panelists. Anyone open? This is now open for all. I'm opening it up. Naresh, you can go ahead with your questions. Or anyone can, please use the chat or unmute yourself. We can unmute yourself and, let's have a discussion around the topic. Everyone needs a coach. Ask any question to any of the Katrina. Okay. Yes.
That was an interesting thing. When Naresh ji had said that, the sports world has really like on top in terms of coaching. Now, if we come to other worlds like the art world or the corporate world or the medical, all those, why are we lagging behind? So that's one, when you were talking about it, I thought, why the corporate world is lagging behind? I have, maybe, I don't know whether it's true or not, from what my observation as an outsider. I've never been in the corporate world, but I feel that in the corporate world, it's all very, very, not only transactional, as you say, it's all about, I know exactly what I'm doing. The people who actually go into the corporate world, it's not when they're in the office, it starts from the school days. Okay, I want to become this, I want to become that, and I've reached this thing, so I have it all. And they don't even, I've seen in the corporate world, they don't, look, turn around to look at themselves or anything. That introspection somehow I feel is missing. And with that comes all those difficulties that, barriers they create for themselves. I'm not trying to say whether they are contributing or not. I'm seeing that difficult world they live in as they grow older and possibly more successful.
Sure.
This is where I think we need to kind of, probably from the school, the coaching, the entire thing, I think it should start with the basic education. We don't have life coaching in our education system.
True. So what I'm hearing is, yes, we need to start life coaching from the school, from the education system. And we need to really think about that. And there are some discussions, Sharmila. So I think a great point.
Yeah, who goes for coaching these days? They look at it, or a counseling or lifestyle coach. Those who are kind of a lagging drop. I mean, those who are trying to kind of at a stage of, breaking down outwardly. Inwardly, what happens, nobody knows. But, artists, confused sports people, all those things, in the fringes, they are the ones going for coaching. But the point what everybody is making, and I agree that we all need coaching. We all need that support.
Thank you for that. Katrina, you can unmute yourself. I think Katrina has raised her hand.
Yes. Yes. Hello. Thank you all so much for being here and for doing this coaching week. It was a really amazing experience, and thank you for doing this webinar. I would like to ask you, because I'm thinking about going into coaching in the future. So I would like to ask you, what was the biggest challenge on the journey to become a coach for you? and what to watch out for, what to be careful about when becoming a coach. Thank you very much.
So who wants to take it? So Katrina asked that what was the biggest challenge for becoming a coach? So Krishna, you joined much earlier than me. You started the journey. Would you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge in being a coach is first when you start coaching, you think you are already a coach. Because you talk to a few people, you do some counseling, you do some, less scientific work. Then the first few weeks, you have to undo all that I know it all stuff and get into a coach mode, right? The second thing that you will really face is, as the change happens, you start becoming inadequate, and as you see in most of the program that I run, people say, I always thought I listened in my lifetime. Now you tell me that I'm not listening. So the next thing is to be able to take on the challenge that you have been inadequate. Suprita beautifully said, the question, had I known this before, always exists with everyone, right? So therefore you get in there with an open mind and be willing to challenge that I know nothing. So most of the time we get in a thing that I know everything. And I find that, the best thing that I find is, in a very simple term, first few sessions, people who come to coaching, who wants to get coached, actually start calling me by name. After 4 sessions, I become a coach. After 8 sessions, I become a sir. After 10 sessions, I become a professor, whatever, Slowly they start understanding this is not an easy business to be in. 2 is people who think that they can actually get away without reading or without upgrading your knowledge are not going to find this profession useful. It actually needs somewhere around 2 to 2.5, 3 hours in a day to constantly upgrade your knowledge, find different ways. Because as I said, you're serving a human being. Problems may remain the same, solutions are not. So unless you are able to bring in diverse perspective, creativity to, being able to challenge person, you may find this profession very challenging.
Katrina, hope that answered your question. I think this is something which we have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishna. Som, you have raised your Somdatta, you have raised your hand. Would you want to unmute and?
Yeah, thanks, Sharmi. So hi everyone. So I have started as a coach and I'm learning from Sharmi and Suprita. And I mean, things are going great. And I just wanted to add that and have a question in mind. Me being from the HR profession, so we have the process, policies, rules, regulations. So we go through all that. And I think all are currently running somewhere or the other, running the rat race, basically. So as you rightly pointed out, Mr. Naresh, that it's very important that within the organization, within the business, we should inculcate coaching, rather one of the KRAs as a coaching. But that's not really happening now. It's like by choice people become. So how do you think that would really change the culture? And also, I think Sharmila ma'am spoke about getting into the school. When we are in school, we can add that. So that flavor, how do you think that culture we can get in, or any perspective from all of you in terms of how can it be done? And if it can be done, how can we change that culture?
Sharmi, shall I take the first part of Som's question? So absolutely, it's creating that culture is important, and a great opportunity, which I think is a missed opportunity in most organizations that I have worked with, is the entire dimension of the performance management system, right? And if you look at it, it's such a powerful tool, but unfortunately, it's descended into becoming very, very transactional, right? So what should have been a transformational activity that HR is, driving, which is, managing the performance and potential of my team members, becomes a ritual And then it's a very sad state of affairs, because you have the employee who's chasing the manager. When are we going to do my appraisal? No, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Maybe next week, next 2 weeks. And finally, HR is chasing the manager. And then it becomes so transactional, because towards the fag end of that whole period, the manager calls the employee and say, okay, how are you doing? Are you doing good? This is okay, all right. And it becomes such a rush job. I think a great opportunity to build a coaching culture is when the manager recognizes that the entire performance management approach, which cannot be just an annual affair. It's at the very least, it should be a monthly conversation. So as an HR professional, so what I would recommend is, if you can build this sense of the coaching perspective into the performance management conversations, that's a great place to start. Thereafter, of course, you can make better steps in inviting people like Sharmi and Krishna to coach the leadership team, and then they learn the art of coaching, and then they take it down the line. But a great starting point, in my opinion, would be the performance management, performance appraisal that already exists as a process. You don't need to create anything new for that. That platform already exists.
Thank you, Naresh.
Thank you, Naresh. I think that was very, very nicely summarized. Mohsin, you wanted to say something?
There was a second part of Som's question about how do we build this into young children in schools?
Yeah, I think.
And on a lighter note, so there is coaching. There is IIT coaching that starts in 6th standard now. But over to the rest of you.
I will answer that. As a part of Give Back initiative, I ran a program of parent and teacher as a coach program.
Yeah.
We certified about 15 to 36 people as per to take on parent and teacher. And one of the things I insisted that if you do want to get certified, it is not you learning from me, you need to certify 5 other people. So we did do that, and that had a good reach. And I know at least some of them are really taking it very deep. And I know one lady is actually doing it in the local vernaculums and reaching out to, people and students who are most needed. So that had a great impact. And I think that's something, a small attempt that I have made.
Yeah, I think, everywhere we have to start like that. In fact, when I started my independent journey as a coach, I received one guardian came to me and said that my daughter is in class 9, and she, can you speak to her? Can you coach her? I said, no, I have never done anything with such young person. I've only done with, at least minimum 15 years work experience. So I have no credential. What is the problem? She said, she gets angry and, there are other issues. I said, you need to go and speak to a counselor or psychiatrist. She said, she's too smart. She understands counseling and psychiatric. And she says, I'm not mad. I will not go. I said, yeah, but then I have no credential for it. I mean, I really don't know. She said, you don't have to do anything. Just speak to her and you direct her to your friend if you have a counselor or anyone. So this was actually my first conversation with a young child like that. And what we did was we just spoke, and it was primarily I was just listening to her. And it actually worked as a miracle that she used to use, get stressed. She managed her anger level. Even managing anger is something which we do it in corporates, and there are tricks and tips which I may have shared as a mentor, not as a coach at all. But she used certain things, and I think the key thing which really worked for her was listening. But still, I do not have the, I know it's very sensitive area, and you really need to get trained and be patient and have a different kind of style if you really have to go to children and coach. them on specific areas. And as Sharmila says that, we only take them to when there is some problem, but on development area also can we, introduce coaches for conversations. And very interestingly, I have another boy who's in class 10, who is getting coached as a cricketer. I mean, apart from his school studies, he's getting coached as a cricketer. So his father came and told me that, he needs to build leadership level even as a cricketer, because, he needs to speak. He does not speak. He's a very big introvert. So can you just speak? So I said again, okay, no, I can just speak, but I don't know whether I'll be able to do any changes or not. And so I'm just listening, and we are having conversations and doing that. But I really don't know if there is any structured process like that, which Krishna, for example, has developed. And, we need to get there gradually for more schools and more there. So
I have a point to make very quickly. I'll make is that I'm very concerned about the fact that in the schools nowadays we have more of career counseling.
Yes.
And other counseling, but that can be extremely harmful if the first level of life coaching is not done. It is doing more harm than good. And the schools kind of proudly declare we have, career counseling happening and all that. I don't think they know what they're talking about. I mean, here I feel, even I made this mistake with Sharmi. I used to tell, I'm going to send my student to you. He needs some career counseling. And she kept telling me, I didn't know the difference. So this is what the schools, you see, you are talking about parents who are already enlightened. Cricket young, but I'm talking about schools with so many children. It's so important. Sorry for harping in this, young level coaching when we are actually the corporates and other levels are also there. But I'm very concerned about the younger people.
Oh, absolutely, Sharmila, and thank you for bringing that, because we are talking about the concept everybody needs a coach. And you can see, like, in our mind also, we have these boxes.
Yeah.
We're unboxing ourselves. And we need to open this up. We need to have more conversations like this to kind of bring that up. I think on the life coaching thing, which you said, there is a message from Mark on life coach is overused words. How do you introduce coaching? It has a negative, everybody says they are a coach. So there are 2 points. One is that overused words of life coaching. And the second is everybody says they are a coach. I agree to that, Mark. Recently I was having a conversation, just a chat in which she said, you are making a mistake, which is a counselor cannot make a mistake. And I said, you know what? I'm not a counselor. I'm not trained counselor. And then immediately I saw he changed his profession, or his designation in LinkedIn to say he's a life coach, he's a coach, all that. So I really have no idea where somebody can just decide that I'm a coach. So it is really not monitored yet. Like, is there a certification? Is there a process? So everyone, a doctor needs to go through a process to become a doctor, or everyone. But in coaching, anyone can just raise their hand and say, I can be a coach. I know. I don't know if there is anyone else who can answer to this. Krishna, Dr. Kannan, you raised your hand. You have to unmute.
Yeah. The thing is the mentoring, coaching, counselors, everybody here is clear that, these are all interchangeably used without people understanding what each of them means. But as far as the need, especially schools, if you take, or colleges, or even medical schools or professional schools, to talk of coaching students one-on-one is a humongous task. We don't have that kind of resources, and it is extremely unlikely that in the next 10-15 years we'll have so many people who are trained, certified coaches for this need. But that kids need coaching, for example, to understand that they need to reflect, they need to introspect, They need to manage anger. They need to listen when somebody is talking. They need to be able to not respond combatively every time, to ask why, to see if it is fact or fiction. All these things, you know, a lot of this training can happen with teachers. Teachers cannot become certified coaches, but they can see, like, we don't have psychologists in the hospital. So we use social workers who have 3 papers in psychology, and over time they will never become psychologists, but they will, to a very large measure, replace psychologists. I'm not saying that is the ideal thing. In an ideal world, we'll have so many psychologists, but we don't have. Doesn't mean we don't do something to meet the need. Same way, we won't have coaches for example, students, but we can, as part of training teachers, even college teachers, even teachers in medical school and engineering colleges need training to be teachers. And as part of teacher training for whatever, the concept of coaching conversations, concept of encouraging students to come out with answers instead of us giving them answers, all this can be built in more easily to substitute for the lack of coaches till such time that we reach a more ideal world.
True. I mean, you really drew a very important point in here on coaching conversations. So can we train people on having coaching conversations, which is just asking, listening? It is so key. Absolutely. I think that's a very, very valid point. So any thoughts around that? How do we do it? Anyone in the panel or outside?
To answer Mark's question, Sharmi, is the word coach gives you a sense of superiority. I always say, don't call yourself a coach. Call yourself a prospective partner, a thinking partner, a sparring partner, call it whatever yourself. Because the moment you say coach, you get to a stage, I am one step higher than you. So you listen, I know it all type of an attitude. I'm not saying you can't get over that, but by recalling yourself, changing the way you want to call yourself, can actually do a lot of change in the way you think and change your behavior.
So true. I mean, so what we think is what we do, what our behavior comes out. So if we train ourselves to say that, we are helping somebody, or what did you say? The perspective.
A thinking partner, a sparring partner, a prospective partner, whatever.
Right.
It becomes a partnership. It becomes a co-creation rather than coach saying, I am saying you listen to me now, and leaders are already doing that. So coach is also doing that. I mean, where do I go now?
True. That is the key difference. Okay. Thank you for bringing that perspective, Krishna. Any other questions? Anything for the panelists here?
Yes, I have a question, if possible.
Sure,
Malcolm. Go ahead, Malcolm.
Yes, thank you. So I'm going back to the big statement, the theme of this session. Everyone needs a coach, and I agree with it 100%. And I'm thinking then of, okay, so why do most people not take up coaching? So then I'm like, okay, I came up with 3 reasons, and I would like to hear your thoughts about it and how we can create a breakthrough in that area. So from my perspective, I'm thinking, first objection, I don't see why I need it. So that's an awareness challenge. The second objective is I can't afford it. So that's a financial challenge. And the third one I came up with is it takes too long. It's a process. It takes too long. I don't have the time. I'm impatient. So that's a time challenge. And I think out of the 3, from where I'm from, the number 1 obstacle is I can't afford it. Yes, I can make the time. Yes, I had the initial conversation with the coach. So I see, hey, this might help me, but the financial challenge, that's the huge one. So my question is, in the context of we all agree that everyone needs a coach, how can we create a shift in these three challenges?
Thank you, Malcolm. Where are you joining from?
I'm currently now in the Netherlands, Europe,
Okay.
but I live in the Caribbean, in Borneo.
Okay. Thank you, Malcolm. Krishna, would you want to take that?
Yeah,
or anyone?
sure.
Yeah.
No, I can take that. You know, I think I said it early, there need to be a perspective shift beyond the service of human being. Coaching is unnecessarily being converted into an industry. So when it does get converted into industry, you work with profit motive. Money is an outcome of service. I think we need to learn a lot from social service, counseling, those type of areas where people are really giving. You know, it has to come from your heart. The person needs to feel that you have added value. And then he should be able to pay you back that you deserve it. You don't seek it, you deserve it. That's my first part to your question. The second part to your question, saying it is a long time, it takes a long time, actually is a misnomer, because if you're a good coach, and many times I hear this, I go to the core of the problem very, very fast. So they get very, sometimes surprised. How is it that you're able to get to the core of the problem very fast? Then you don't get inquisitive about your challenges. You get inquisitive about your thinking. If I get very inquisitive about your thinking, I'm focusing on your thinking, and therefore I'm getting very fast to what your thinking is and not what your problem is. So if coaches are wanting to listen to a problem, of course I agree with you, Malcolm. It's going to take ages because you want to keep listening. And I know a number of coaches who say, unless I know how this problem, how can I find solution? My question is, if you know your thinking, problem arises from thinking. So get hold of the thinking, then you'll move very fast. That's my second answer to your question.
Thank you, Krishna. Hope Malcolm it responded to your question. So Sheila Vishwanath asks, can anyone be a coach? How does one assess if one can become a good coach? What are some of the key critical competencies that one needs to possess to become a good coach? So can anyone, I think we kind of responded a little bit there, but can anyone become a coach, a person who really have a sense of helping people, who really want to do service for people? That is one of the key skill in my mind, I would say. And there are other skills which you develop, for example, listening skills, asking questions. So if you go to ICF competency, ICF has actually defined coaching competencies also very well in a very structured manner for us to follow what is, how to develop that coaching skill. And how does one assess if one can become a good coach? What are some of the key critical competencies that one needs to possess? Yeah, I think listening, asking question is definitely, these two are one of the key. Anything else you want to add, Suprita, Krishna?
I think the latest ICF competency, one of the most important competency there defined is coaching mindset. I think listening, all that will arise if you have a coaching mindset. So if you really focus on what is coaching mindset, is that I am in service of people in very simple.
And Sharmi, if I can add to what Sheila asked, I think a good starting point is to first become a coachee and experience the power of coaching. So you become the beneficiary of it, and you will then, you get to see from the recipient side. And if you can pick a good coach, it cuts your learning curve, right? So that would be something I've benefited enormously in my life.
Just wanted to add one thing to what Krishna and Naresh said, that it is very important that you be a coachee, because that's how I started. I have got myself enrolled into a coaching program, and I experienced the power of coaching, because I had a myth that and most of us have this myth that coaching is only for the CEOs. No, it's as we said that, as Sharmila also pointed out, and Krishna, and a lot of us said that even in schools, we can have coaching, even in colleges, we can have coaching. And as Dr. Kannan pointed out very nicely, we can create effective coaching, because we are all, our parents or our teachers always tell us, this is what I did, this is what you do, okay? Maybe it worked for you, it might not work for me, because all of us are different. Even a child or a young adult is very different. We should be open to listening to that person, to his viewpoints. And the other thing what I wanted to add was, if I have to become a coach, I have to keep my judgments away. I should not be judging anybody, because we are so used to judging in our society, and we come to conclusions just on the basis of certain facts or judgments. So I need to be purely non-judgmental if I have to develop a coaching mindset. That's it.
Absolutely. I think that's a very, very good point. Naresh, I want to ask you one thing. You have been a facilitator and you have actually observed team coaching as well in one of the programs which we did. What is in your mind is a difference between facilitation and a team coaching, for example? I know we are slightly digressing, but I'm just thinking, because there has been some something on internal, how do I coach, how do I convince somebody to become an internal coach and all that coming in. So in a short, this thing, if you can just say that.
I think team coaching has a specific context to it, right? And I think as a team coach, we focus on certain current issues of misalignment, veering away from a certain direction, maybe some confusion around values and all of that. So in my perspective, team coaching is driving alignment and driving interdependencies and getting people to recognize the interconnections, right? Facilitation can be skill oriented. It can, you're facilitating a session on conflict resolution, or you're facilitating a session on delegation, right? So there's a certain amount of cognitive knowledge sharing and, getting adult learning principles into the whole thing. So that's how I see the difference between team coaching and facilitation, Sharmi. I wanted to add one point to what Mohsin has said here is something that I would invite, exactly what you're doing now, Sharmi. I would invite, Krishna, you, Suprita, all of you who are professional coaches. I think Mohsin has a point there that we need to get the world more familiarized with the benefits of coaching, why coaching is so important in our lives, in our professional lives, in our personal lives. I think more sessions like this, what you've done today, I think are very, very important. Thanks, Mohsin, for saying that.
Yeah, thanks. Mohsin, where are you joining from?
Good afternoon. Actually, I'm talking with you from Iran.
Okay.
From where? Sorry?
Iran.
Iran. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you for that point. Yeah, I think this is what ICF is doing, International Coaching Federation. They're really bringing the globe in a smaller world and understanding, connecting people who really wants to help. So, we are having people from all around. In fact, yesterday I had somebody who joined in. There were two young people. It was 2 a.m. for them, somebody from Prague, somebody from North Africa. So it was quite interesting, and they were not coaches at all. They just really wanted to understand how can they get benefited. So I think the process has started, but yes, we need to do more. Thank you, Naresh, for bringing that up. So I just, is there any a question which is unanswered there, or any one of you would want to answer? Yeah.
There's a question from
Katrina has a question.
What after that, Suprita?
No, Krishna, you can go ahead. I was just saying that,
I think my answer would be very simple, Katrina. Get over your own experience. That's the most difficult part. Our own experience is our own killer. And we have to coach others by suspending our experience. And that's where Suprita said, when you suspend your experience, you suspend judgment. So you need to forget your world and get into client's world. I think that's the most difficult part.
Thank you, Krishna. Dr. Kannan, I want to ask you that same question which we asked in the beginning, that will coaching or a coaching conversation can help in patient care or any of that, on those big behavior changes. What are your thoughts on that? There are quite a few other coaches also there in the in the audience. I can see that. So anything for them?
The most important part of behavior change, just a simple thing. Look at tobacco cessation. Tobacco cessation will not happen unless the individual concerned wants to quit tobacco. The reason why tobacco quit rates are so abysmally low are because most people quit tobacco because their spouse wants them to quit, their family wants them to quit, their doctor, they don't want to quit. And so in order to drive, I think behavior change is key to promoting healthy communities. And behavior change will only happen if the idea is owned by the individual whose behavior needs change. That can happen through there may be other ways to do it, but a coaching conversation where this idea comes from the individual. It could happen one-on-one, it could happen in groups. Groups can also come to the same conclusion that I need to quit tobacco. We need to quit tobacco for our own good, for the good of our family. But that idea must come from them. And that is why I think it is so important for all of us to learn some amount of, to acquire some amount of coaching conversational skills.
Okay. Yeah, we can discuss and see how we can really take that forward. One more question for Sharmila Di. So, in this art world, and you have understood, experience a little bit of how can we take it to deeper, to this art world or the performers and there. You're on mute. I'll unmute. No, you're. See if I can unmute you. I'm asking you to yeah. Oops. Sorry. No, you've got. Yeah, still on mute because I think we both. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I feel for this coaching, the importance of coaching can be propagated well. If you in your webinars, of course, there's one level where the coaches must meet and all and discuss problems and solutions. Another way is to invite institutional heads, whether they're dance institution or educational institution, doesn't matter. But the principals, the main leaders, they need to be influenced. They need to understand the importance. And while sitting here listening, I mean, my experience was little, not much. Here now, what made me feel, I'll share with you. I was thinking I'll go back to Calcutta and I'll have a session for all the dancers, all from the junior section to senior, for a coaching session, just for them to know. I'll probably ask Sharmi to help me to do it. But we need to, otherwise we cannot, pick out individual or expect individual parents to know or do.
True. I get that, and thank you for thinking of that. In fact, I've been doing some sessions for the college professors, just to speak about that. You can also add your coaching style in your facilitation, just to ignite their thinking process. So I think, but all of us coaches who are there, we need to really reach out and do that more.
See, who needs to implement? It's the principals who can implement. You see, as a junior teachers or just a parent, her reach will be limited. So that's why I'm talking about the principals who can actually implement as a part of the course.
Okay, yeah. As a principal of your school, you are planning.
Like that. Those who have the power to do it.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I think we don't have any other questions here. So if there is no questions, and it was, Naresh, would you want to say any last this thing to hold it together for us before we close?
No, I'm just fascinated by the quality of questions, and also by the different perspectives. I think we covered a lot of ground, right from, the concept of coaching children and differentiating it from career counseling. But to me, I think the thread from what I hear from all of us, the thread that connects all of these dots is the thread that coaching is perhaps an integral part of that journey from making the world and life more transformational rather than transactional, right? I think coaching is that element which elevates people's thinking, elevates people to question, what is my purpose, and to search for those answers. And I think, to me, that's probably the thread that I'm picking from our conversation today, that it is really from, looking at that very, very transactional tunnel vision of life to moving it to transformational. And that is when we will lead our lives, like Dr. Kannan said, and even what Sharmila ji was saying, that how can we discover that much bigger purpose that's bigger than ourselves. If we discover that, and then I think life is magic.
Thank you, Naresh. Thank you for bringing this perspective together. Any last words? I'll just go around with everyone. Dr. Kannan, any last words from you?
I think it's fun learning some coaching skills. You will develop insights that you did not have earlier, and you will realize that you can actually help yourself and your own colleagues find more fulfillment in life.
Thank you, Doctor.
Sharmi, just wanted to add one more thought from Marshall Goldsmith, right? Who again is one of the world's most celebrated coaches. And this is something that keeps ringing in my ears. He says, all leadership failures are failures due to behavioral flaws. It's not lack of expertise, it's not lack of qualification, it's not lack of any of those areas. But when a leader fails, the leader fails because of his or her behavioral flaws. And I think that's the one spot that a coach can really help each one of us identify. What is that behavioral blind spot that I am not able to see that can derail my life, can derail my leadership style? And I think that Marshall Goldsmith has always hit home with that. I thought it'll be a good reminder for all of us.
True, absolutely. I think that's so powerful, that one behavioral derailer. Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah, thank you for that. Suprita, any last words from you?
Yeah, that's it. Coaching is something which will help you empower yourself. You don't have to wait for empowerment from others. You don't have to give the power to others to make you happy, sad, or choose things in life. Coaching will help you to decide and make better decisions in life. You will take responsibility of your decisions. You will be more empowered, rather than blaming it on others. So that will help you. So that's what has helped me personally, I would say.
Thank you, Suprita.
Thank you.
Krishna, any last words from you?
My last words would be, is many people have already said, summation is creativity, potential, challenge, better planet.
Beautiful. Creativity. Okay. Thank you. Sharmila di? You are on mute.
I have spoken many last words and all that, and there's no point repeating myself. We must have more of them, Sharmi, Suprita, and I have learned a lot, like so many others. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you all participants. I read your Malcolm says, I would love to listen to this conversation again. Yes, we will make it available in YouTube. Once we process it, we'll put it there, and all those who have registered with your email addresses, we will send you this recording to you. And thank you so much, everyone who has participated. I just want to say that in 2011, when I got to know about coaching, the number was maybe 7,000, 8,000 in ICF, but there were other this thing also. Today, ICF has got 50,000 coaches globally across. So this coaching, we are getting many more coaches, but as Krishna said, we need to be careful about who do we coach, how do we coach, need to be sensitive, all the coaches need to be really sensitive about it. We will do some follow-up sessions on how do you really choose your coach? Who would you know that the coach is right for you? If you really, like Naresh mentioned that you should experience coaching. So I often tell people that, there are very easy ways to open people's mind like this. But if you really do not know how to deal with that mind later, that mind closes. And once it closes forever. So you are doing more damage to that person than you are benefiting. So that's why it's very important that you really learn what is coaching, how do you coach, how do you really enable, and then get into that project. Not only say that I'm a coach and go for it, or choose your coaches appropriately. So I think that's what I would say here. But otherwise, of course, even I, like all of us said, everyone needs a coach, and we need to work towards it. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today, each one of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.